The cartel has been after my family for several years for being a whistleblower. Let's talk about it. So back in 2020, my sister and I thought it would be a fantastic idea to buy some land here in Texas. We went to a few places. She was filling in forms online and ultimately came across this company that called her and said, "Hey, why don't you come over? We have great deals. Come see what we have." She was very turned off by the office when she got there. The place was packed and just ultimately left. And that should have been the first red flag. The sales guy convinces her to go back. He's like, "Hey, if you come over, we'll take out a couple of $1,000s off your lot if it's something that you want." And she makes her way there. She ultimately tours with him, and think of this place back in 2020 like a blank canvas. It's back, especially where they give you the tour. There's a lot of dirt roads. You don't really see the bulk of it, and she was convinced. She's like, "This is a good deal, and they actually have a really easy entry. We should look into it." So she calls me. I get there and I went on the same guided tour as she did, but I had some questions. I told the sales guy, "Hey, we're rather close to Kingwood, and I remember back in Hurricane Harvey, Kingwood flooding really badly. There were 2-story homes that were underwater, and that traumatized me." So I specifically asked, "Does this place flood? And did it flood during Hurricane Harvey?" And he's like, "Nope. No flooding issues whatsoever. It has not flooded here. Nothing happened during Hurricane Harvey." And that was that. Being rather suspicious, I asked my sister, "Do you think he's lying to us?" And she said, "No. This is a real estate transaction. It's against the law to be lying about this." And so began the biggest disaster of our lives. We ended up buying 8 lots in total, 3 under my name and 5 under her name. Big mistake. I'm trying to make this long story short for you. So my sister, we start doing all the arrangements, asking for permits and stuff like that, specifically her. And, they're very friendly with her, especially the sales guy, always asking questions. "How are you doing?" Trying to find out a little bit more about her and our lives. And little did we know, we were feeding our information to wolves. And my sister started asking questions because a lot of things started to not add up. And it seems like that made them very uncomfortable. And that's how we went from customer to target. They wanted us out so badly that one of the lands that we had paid for, that was under my sister's name, we had been preparing it because all this time they tell you, "Oh, water and light connection, everything's included, everything's ready," and that's a big fat lie. People end up spending thousands to try to get connections and everything. So one of the lands we had put the most money into, under her name, they decided, "Hey, you haven't paid this land and we're going to foreclose it." One thing you need to know is that they tell people that you should be paying with a money order at their box office in their office. I was paying online personally because I'm just more of a digital person, but since she was going to the area to get permits and do a bunch of stuff, she would go make money orders and put them in their drop box, which is a perfect way to steal from people because you won't have that transaction in your bank account to back it up. So 6 months into paying for this land, they sent a letter and they said we were going into foreclosure. My sister talks to the sales guy. She writes back. She's like, "You can't put me under foreclosure or go into my land because, first of all, I've been paying. Second of all, I'm giving you the benefit of doubt to find my payments that I paid with all my lands at the same time. And you can't go into my land until you officially foreclose me." They did not like that. We also went to the county to pay for our taxes because this place tells people to pay your taxes in their office. And we're like, "No, we're going to go to the county to pay for our taxes." We get to the county. They literally had texted our tax IDs. And we realized that they had paid the taxes for that land that they had stolen the money for. It was such a crazy day. We were asking people in the county, what's going on with this company. There's so many things happening. We think they're taking advantage of people. And everyone kind of looked at each other, but they just seemed like they couldn't say what they were thinking. My sister calls them. She's like, "Why do you pay my taxes?" They're not used to being confronted like this. And we ultimately start getting stalked where I lived. And just to be clear, in this time, my sister had moved in, or she had been staying with my husband and I, because her apartment had a multi-level parking, and she felt like she was being stalked, but she could not pinpoint exactly who it was, and she was scared. So she had been staying with me, and after we went to pay our taxes, we all started getting stalked aggressively. I worked from home. I had a routine, kind of went out to walk my dog, and cars started coming over to me and accelerating and just kind of letting me know that I was in danger. We started reaching out to agencies, calling the police, telling them about the stalking. And for the police, unless somebody touches you, they really don't do much. So my sister was like, "This is a huge scam. We have to do something about it. We have to do like a website. We have to do a Class A lawsuit. We've got to blow this up." I was terrified. Imagine just being home, having your regular routine, working your ass off as you do, and having people come over to your place to watch you every day, what you're doing, where you're going, when you leave, and ultimately try to intimidate you. I I can't even begin to describe what that feels like. And my sister was ready, but I wasn't. She has red hair. If you see her, she's fiery. She can pull in people, and I'm just the more paused, calm, thoughtful one of both. Not that she's not thoughtful, she is. She's sharp. But it took me a minute. I was like, so we're being stalked and harassed by these people who have all of our information, our driver's license, our social security, and we're just going to build a website and talk about them and, try to do a Class A lawsuit. That is terrifying. So I had to sit on this idea for a little bit. I didn't jump to it. Just so you know, that is actually my career. I've been building websites since 2011. I specialize in SEO, so one of my specialties is getting websites to the top of Google. I knew that if I wanted to do something about this, or if I was going to do something about it, I had to be committed, and that it was going to hyper target and do exactly what we needed it to do. But you have to be ready for something like this, because this is war, and it's not something that we started. But when you get into something like this, you have to be ready to endure pressure. So one night I'm watching a movie, and I woke up very energized. I go to church and I was praying, and I said, okay, God, like, if you want me to do this, I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes, whatever I need to do. I'm here, just use me. I'll build this website. And that's when we built Terrenos Houston Demanda. It's a website exposing Terrenos Houston and the company Colony Ridge and how they're scamming the Latino community in Texas.